After the scandal that rocked our street, when the husband discovered his wife's infidelity and everything came to light in an explosive confrontation, it seemed like the story was over. But what no one imagined was that from that day on, even darker secrets would begin to emerge. The neighbor, now alone and marked by everyone's judgment, began to live in isolation, avoiding contact. But strange events began to surround her home. Mysterious sounds, people coming and going at unlikely times, and rumors that grew by the day. The street, which had previously been the scene of a scandalous betrayal, now became the setting for something much darker. It was as if the end of that relationship had opened space for new hidden truths to surface, revealing that the house hid much more than a simple story of infidelity. After the separation, the neighbor's house seemed plunged into silence. Curtains were always drawn, lights were off for long hours, and a strange presence we all sensed but couldn't explain. During the day, we almost never saw any movement. At night, however, certain noises echoed, creaking doors, footsteps on the wooden floor, muffled voices. The neighborhood, already traumatized by the scandal, avoided comment, but everyone sensed that something wasn't right. The woman rarely came out, and when she did, her gaze was distant, as if carrying an invisible weight. It seemed that the house, once a symbol of a happy home, had become a space laden with secrets that threatened to surface at any moment. It was on a rainy morning that I saw, for the first time after the scandal, the same man who had been the neighbor's lover. He was standing in front of the house, hesitant, as if unsure whether to enter. After a few minutes, she opened the door and quickly let him in. The scene intrigued me, because we all believed he had disappeared forever. What brought him back, even after the exposure? It didn't seem like a lover's rendezvous. There was something different in the air. The conversations seemed tense, the gestures nervous. It was as if it was no longer about passion, but rather about secrets that needed to be kept hidden at all costs. A few days later, even more serious rumors began to circulate. Some neighbors swore they'd heard intense arguments inside the house, always involving the word money. Others said they'd seen envelopes being delivered by the mysterious man late at night. The scandal of betrayal seemed small compared to what was beginning to emerge. There was talk of debts, blackmail, and even shady dealings. The neighborhood, once merely curious, now became vigilant. Everyone wanted to understand what kind of secrets still lay hidden within those walls, and the more the rumors grew, the more that house began to be seen not only as a symbol of betrayal, but as the epicenter of something dangerous. It wasn't just the man who appeared. Other figures began to be seen coming and going at unlikely times. Serious-looking men, never before seen on the street, would stay for a few minutes and then quickly leave, always carrying small bags or envelopes. This movement began to frighten the neighbors who avoided passing by at night. Some even reported hearing louder voices, muffled arguments that ended in sudden silence. The woman, previously discreet, now seemed embroiled in something that went beyond her former double life. It was as if the hole went much deeper, revealing that the betrayal had been only the surface of a much darker secret. Over time, fear gripped the street. People no longer let their children play in front of the house, and any strange movement drew attention. Rumors swirled that the woman was involved with dangerous people, that her lover was not just an ordinary man, but someone connected to illegal activities. The air of gossip turned to real concern. What had previously been mere curiosity now became fear of living next to something criminal. And with each new movement at night, the tension grew, as if we were all about to be drawn into that dark plot. One afternoon, while helping another neighbor repair a nearby fence, I noticed something strange in the neighbor's yard. There were fresh marks of disturbed earth, as if someone had recently dug there. It didn't look like simple gardening work. The space was poorly covered and gave the impression of hiding something that shouldn't be seen. This discovery fueled even more speculation. Was she hiding evidence? Money? Or something even more sinister? With every detail, the feeling of the idea that we were facing a larger, darker story was growing. It was impossible to ignore, and the entire street was already on high alert. The fights inside the house grew more intense and impossible to hide. Shouts could be heard from the street, always accusatory. The relationship between the neighbor and the mysterious man seemed to have turned into a silent war, full of threats and secrets that neither of us fully understood. Each night, the screams were followed by a heavy silence, as if something terrible had happened inside. The neighborhood no longer saw just a woman marked by infidelity. but someone involved in a dangerous game that could end very badly. It wasn't long before the police were seen patrolling the street. Discreet patrol cars drove slowly, and on occasion officers stopped in front of the house watching. This confirmed that what was happening there was not just rumor. An investigation was underway, and suddenly, all the neighbors found themselves living in the middle of a police situation. Fear grew. Were we siding with criminals? Was the neighbor involved in something illegal? Every knock on the door, every unknown car that pulled up was enough to chill our hearts. One night, finally, part of the truth began to reveal itself. We discovered that the lover was not just an ordinary man, but someone involved in shady dealings linked to money laundering. The neighbor, whether aware of it or not, had become a pawn in this dangerous game, hoarding valuables and serving as a front for operations no one could have imagined. This explained the envelopes, the strange visits, and even the arguments. But even with this revelation, the feeling remained that we still didn't know everything. With each new detail, the plot became murkier, and it became clearer that we were only scratching the surface of an even bigger secret. It was in a quiet, early morning that everything exploded. Neighbors heard a violent fight inside the house, followed by absolute silence. A few minutes later, speeding cars pulled out of the street. The next morning, the house was closed again, but something had changed in the air. The tension was unbearable, and we all knew this was the harbinger of something even darker. The police returned, this time in force, and rumors swirled that they had found serious evidence hidden inside the house. The neighbor, who had already lost her husband and reputation, now seemed about to lose her own freedom. The cheating scandal seemed to be the climax of the story, but it turned out to be only the gateway to a much bigger secret. My neighbor wasn't just an unfaithful wife. She was at the center of a web of mysteries involving money, blackmail, and crimes not yet fully revealed. And if what we already know is shocking, imagine what's yet to come. Rumors swirl that the disappearances of people connected to that house may be directly connected to her. Want to find out what the police actually found inside that house and why the neighborhood was never the same? Then don't miss the next video, because the revelation will be darker than anything we've ever seen. Hey everyone, if you enjoyed this story full of twists and turns, don't forget to leave a like and share it with your friends. To our loyal followers, you're amazing, always supporting the channel with your comments and energy. And if you're just arriving, welcome. Subscribe to the channel, activate the bell so you don't miss anything, and come be part of our community that loves real and impactful stories. We have much more to come, so let's grow together. Subscribe now and join the family.